Maybe a little check.
Cool.
Nice. All right. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the EJB Talk Show. This is episode 20. Very special number.
20.
Some money number, dude.
Hell yeah, I am 20. That's crazy.
Oh, shoot. But yeah, today I have a very special guest for this, Thijs Vorstman. Say that right?
Yes.
Sick. That's awesome. But yeah, he's a violist here at UFT and also huge contemporary music lover. We're going to talk about that today. But how are you doing today, man?
Man, you really caught me at the day where I procrastinated hard, man. Yeah, like my least productive I've been thus far. Yeah, I don't know. I find it. I'm having a good time.
Nice.
I'm glad you mentioned that contemporary stuff.
Yeah.
I love contemporary music. Good contemporary music.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to like bring that up now? So you're currently playing with the UFT Contemporary Music Ensemble. How has that been this year?
It's the best, to be honest, because it's like you know, you kind of end up with the weirdos, you know. Shout out! I love you guys. No, just like kind of the people who look elsewhere,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really cool because you know I find myself searching a lot in life as well.
Where did your like interest in music like that, experimental, contemporary, weirdo music kind of start?
My weirdo music. That's a good question. So when I was I know a decisive moment where I was like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing. That was in when was that? Yeah. So at some point, I'm a violist, and I switched from violin to viola.
Right.
And there was a bit of mourning in that, as in like, you know, Prokofiev first violin concerto is so beautiful, and I was like, I'll probably never play that, you know. And Beethoven, like, I won't play that either. And then my teacher at the time sent me the Schnittke viola concerto. Look it up. It's a fucking banger. It's so good. And dude, my mind was blown. Like my morn was gone. And it's like it's this crazy. Just goes into disarray. Goes back into yeah.
Damn.
But it's not like gookery. No, you know it is. There is thought behind it, and it's very beautiful. Very beautiful. Anyways, that was my. And if you knew me in first year, by the way, you know that I was so annoying about it. I would talk about Schnittke all the time.
Is that like your favorite composer?
My favorite composer? Nah, my favorite composer is Bach. But you know, like...
Really?
Bach is infinite. For me...
I guess.
No!
Well, I'm a percussionist, right? So like we mostly play new music.
Yeah,
primarily. Yeah. I mean, unless like we're an orchestra or even like... Sometimes we'll play like Bach transcriptions on like marimba, but yeah, that's interesting that you think Bach is like up, like very like first, you know.
I mean, how I've lived Bach, how I lived it was like okay, I kind of have this duality going on. It's a bit weird. You have like Schumann. Schumann is like a starstruck love. You just slip over a banana peel, you see someone, you're like, oh my god, I can't go on my normal life. Now, that is Schumann for me. Bach for me is like a marriage where you know it's slow and there's something very melancholic about it, and it gets better every day.
Damn.
Yes.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
That's how I live it.
But I'm gonna work a bit chronologically here. I want to ask, what would you say is your earliest musical memory that you could recall?
What is... See, I thought about it, because I've watched it.
Yeah.
I watched the good stuff. Yeah, what was the earliest musical memory? I think I have two.
Okay.
Yeah. One is, there were some sounds that I like, absolutely hated.
So like a negative reaction.
Yeah, well, I mean, sounds really.
Mm-hmm.
No, you couldn't even call it music. Like, for example, like the radio losing connection, like... I was just go like, I fucking hate this. No, I didn't say fucking hate this. I was 3. No, but you know, like that was you like that. I hated it. I thought it was horrible. And there was some, and then later in my life, there was some music that I was like, just put that off. But I hate this, you know. I try to be more open-minded now,
Right.
because to each our own. But then there were the other side of things, is that I had there was some music where I would just, you know, I couldn't move. It was so beautiful, you know. It just took me as a whole, and still now, you know.
Nice.
And that really has stayed, I think.
So you mentioned that you played the violin before viola, because that's very common for violists to start as violinists, right?
Yes.
Was that your first instrument, like, ever? Like, or did you like, start with piano or anything?
Yeah. It was my first instrument ever. Well, because since I had that kind of reaction with music and sounds and whatnot, my parents took like a guess that I might be sensitive to some sounds, and they were like, all right, then he might not play out a tune, you know.
Really?
Yeah, like that completely. They said now it's like completely selfish reasons. They're like, yeah, we don't want to endure someone who plays out a tune all the time.
So how did you get into like playing the violin from there? Like starting to play music. What was that like for you?
Well, I started with a bad teacher, actually. Like, not good. My small town teacher.
This wasn't in Canada.
No. Oh yeah, I lived in the Netherlands back then.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, I remember for my first 2 years, it was like kept on playing violin because I was like, all right, I don't like it now, but later on I will play beautiful music. And thinking back,
you kind of had that like in your head creeping, like, oh, like eventually the music I'll be playing is better. Like,
yeah.
That's interesting, because you know, like most kids just like, oh, I'm forced to play violin, go to class, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they don't really think about the greater things that they could be doing. But that's very, very interesting.
I mean, it's like you can't really, like, with all the, you can give arguments of I should do this because it'll make me a lot of money, or I should do this because, you know, you can always think objective. But when you have like visceral reactions to something, when like music touches you, you can't deny that, right? It's like, and so I always felt like that. It's just like there's no discussion. It's there.
So you just kept studying violin until you switched to viola, and was this still in the Netherlands for you?
It was still in the Netherlands, yes. It was a very slow change. Well, first of all, because like I had a good violin teacher, and there was a bit of a stigma saying that viola was easier than violin, which is not true. It's not true. No, viola is more difficult. Anyways, I made so many people angry now. Where was I? Yes, and then but actually, as it turned out, it's just something else. And when I was about 12 years old, I started when I was 8, violin, and when I was about 12 years old, my teacher, who was then good, thank God, she introduced me to the viola, and the low C string. Just that was one of those moments where I was just
like you felt.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's sick. Damn. Like, I do love the viola though. I do feel like I love listening to the viola, like solo. But like, from there, like you eventually moved to Canada, like after studying the viola for a couple of years, right?
After kind of doing both, violin, viola.
Okay.
Yeah. I moved to Canada because of my dad's work.
Okay.
He works at Sick Kids. He's a doctor.
Damn.
Yeah. And I came with a teacher who had a different approach, but very, very strong hand.
I was gonna say, like, how would you describe like the shift in like both like cultural landscape of studying classical music in Europe, in the Netherlands, and then coming here? around, say, like still like a young age, but
16. I was 16.
Yeah. So like, how would you describe that kind of shift of studying, and like classical music around you too? Like, how would you say the difference was?
Well, first of all, okay. Well, I was 16, and so I was hitting puberty. Not my proudest moment. But you know, it's like I kind of miss my friends, this, that. I think it grew. I grew a lot here in Canada. Mm-hmm. I think that's how I lived it. Because people have a different culture, mm-hmm. But there's no wrong or right culture really.
Right.
So that was like, Canadians are very sweet, very, very sweet people. I mean that sincerely. They're accepting also of differences, and I think that's great. But also when I was in Canada, I discovered what I missed in Europe, because I was kind of being an adolescent, and they do nothing. Mm-hmm. Then you stop working, you have other interests, and then when I went to Canada, I saw actually how good Concertgebouw Orchestra was actually,
All right.
And I never even went there once. Isn't that crazy? Like, I don't know, and I think I felt like I was playing a game of catch up all the time when I realized.
In terms of like life in general, or like mostly music? Like, what would you say?
Mostly music.
Okay.
Mostly music, yeah, because it's like I still feel that way, mm-hmm. a lot.
Right.
Where I'm just catching up to people,
Why would you say that was the case back then too? Do you feel like you weren't at the level of like playing that you wanted to be by that, or what do you think?
Well, I think my teacher back then, like I said, had a kind of strong hand, mm-hmm. and really put me in a place where I had to be more aware and listen with new set of ears to everything. Mm-hmm. And I got really into orchestras and whatnot. I started listening to other orchestras, and then it started adding up. Like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't. And you don't want to rabbit hole in that, But that was kind of the moment, I guess, where really my sole focus to improve in what I do, mm-hmm. was like growing, I think. Is that a weird answer?
No, it's not a weird answer. But so like you're saying it didn't really like come from a place of like comparing yourself, but just like acknowledging like the landscape around you, essentially. Like, what do you?
Yeah, that, and well, I am. I'm in a family. I have 3 siblings, and I'm the third of 4. Mm-hmm. So naturally, I'm like very competitive. So I would see people. that were better than me, and did things. For me, it was mostly the pieces that I wanted to play, I think. Well, Schnittke is one of them, because it's like a monster of a piece. It's like so difficult to play on an emotional level too, and but also on a technical level. And so it's like those singular pieces, I think, that get me going. Yeah.
Was it the same kind of drive that like stuck with you through like playing the viola and studying classical music before university? Like you have this consistent drive of like being inspired by the sounds around you, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, now that you say, yeah, I never thought about that, but yes. Yes. Yeah, you go really deep into my psyche. I like it. I mean, yeah, the that's also one of the things I really like about CME, Contemporary Music Ensemble. It just my mind is blown like all the time, and for me that's what music always has, or my appreciation for music always has been. It was just like something like, it's like you look at Mozart 40 or something, and it's like so simple, and it's like, why did I not think of that? Why did it? You know, just
Right.
you know, you're like, and because it's really beautiful. It's really really beautiful, and it's not, and you understand it, and so it's pretty crazy. Anyways, that's a rant. Yes.
But so I'm assuming that for you, like when you were in high school, it was like no question, I'm gonna go to university for music, or what was it like?
What did I do in high school? I was I was going through a phase in high school. I'm not yeah. We're gonna get, that's uncomfortable.
Talk as much as you're comfortable.
All right. No, I'll say everything.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I was in high school, so I was 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just moved. So what did I really, I didn't really have goals. I went kind of left and right. It was like, I did just enough to get like 70s. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the entrance, the mark that you need to have for university is 80, and I had like 79.6. You know, just so you know. So, anyways, it's when I was in Tice, the Toronto Symphony Youth Orchestra, when I was 17 going on 18, that I had camp weekend, and I was like, oh my god, this is so much fun, this is the best thing ever, I want to do this for my life, blah blah. So that was really one moment of like, you know, just it sounds very romantic, but you know, it's like that's how it went.
So from there, like, you know, you're here for performance right now. You're in third year, right? How have you described your time here at UFT since you've been here?
How would I describe my time here at UFT? It's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that?
All right. How shall I put this? In the first year, I was there in 2020, so it was a pandemic year.
Right.
I was like a wholesome freshman. I was like, oh my god, music, so much fun. You know, that was kind of my attitude. And then what? It took me a lot of time to find my place here.
How so?
So first year I didn't have any. I wasn't really in ensembles. I was in my string quartet. That was great string quartet. You know who you are. And then in second year, like in first and second year, I always felt like, much like what I described before, that
playing catch up.
Yeah,
right.
There was always something missing that wouldn't allow me to play what I wanted to, or do what I want to, or even like sight reading, or play as a quartet member. And it's only really in my third year. I'm with another teacher now. He's amazing, and I'm in CME with a lot of role models.
Right.
That I actually have gained the tools to work and improve. Yes.
Right. So going back to like you feeling like you've been playing catch up in like first and second year, what do you think caused that? Like, is it the same type of catch up of when like you were like just got to Canada, or was it a different type? Like, what would you say?
There were whole different types of catch ups. I'll say it's like it's, but I think what is most prominent is that I was quite a disagreeable kid for most of my life. Like a lot later, I was done with things not working out for me, and so I just kind of took a vow, and I decided to say, like, you know, I will do everything my teacher says, like just his opinion will be mine. I will lose my personality completely, and then that doesn't mean my personality doesn't matter, but that'll come later. You know, I can always that I don't have to do my best to to be Tice. You know, I'm that.
Right.
I'm Tice by nature. And so that's kind of how I guess I got out of the feeling helpless.
Right.
Feeling helpless. Now, actually, I think I feel a lot better because I pride myself in making progress. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm. And if today I make, or if yesterday I made like 6 mistakes and I work on them, then I'll look forward to playing 5 mistakes next time.
Right.
I think it's so much better.
Yeah, that's a very, very awesome answer to that.
Thanks.
I really, but I do want to ask, like, you're currently in your 3rd year, second semester right now, and you're about to finish here. Like, what would you say is like your, like, greater goal with, like, are you trying to land like an orchestra job?
Greater goal,
like with music, with playing the viola, like, what are you thinking?
Freestyle rapping. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. That's not my greater goal. What is my greater goal? I gotta. Fuck. No, I lost my thread. My greater goal is. What is my greater? My greater goal. What is my greater goal? You make me think of a whole bunch of things I haven't thought of in a while.
Would you like to land like an orchestra job?
Yeah. I have. So I just want to be okay. For me, music has always been. This was also one of the reasons why I wanted to do music. It always felt like world building. Like, okay, I'll explain. It'll be
Okay.
When you have like when people that read like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And it's like when you in this book you just enter another space,
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt that with music, where it's just like if I'm just doing music with people who have like this innate need for to communicate, because that's really what we're doing. We communicate Schumann and all those people who have broken our hearts. Then that's. I'll be part of that Harry Pottery world, I'll be part of that. Does that make sense?
You feel that sense when you're playing or like consuming music?
Just being in the building, doing this podcast and just being, and right now I was just like watching the TSYO, rehearsing a bit, and it just brought me back. I know we don't often realize we're just kind of in a niche, and it's so we're in this own universe,
right?
And I guess my goal is to play somewhere where nobody is an automatic pilot and everyone wants in the grounds of their hearts, right, to have beautiful music. Yeah.
Damn. That's great. This has been awesome fucking answers, dude. This is so sick.
Thank you.
But where was I gonna go with that? I was gonna ask, like, like from talking to you now, and like we've never had such a long extended conversation together, so I'm really like learning a lot about you right now.
Sick.
Like like music has like kind of been you forever,
yeah,
right? But how would you say like moments of like doubting, like being in music, like affected you in your kind of personal way, since being particularly here in UFT?
Yeah,
like in university level kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. So it's like it's just the like sometimes the anxieties, if you will.
Mm.
Yeah. How has that affected me? Well, I mean, it's I think it's fragility is something I also like. It's something can be something very beautiful, and it's I want to take music as it is, at face value, which means that, same as taking like a person at face value, there's the good times, there's the bad times, but then altogether it makes this beautiful person. I kind of had a humanization of music. That's how I've lived my anxieties and whatnot.
And it's treated you well, like having that perspective, you'd say.
Well, I mean, it has been, some things have been very hard, of course, you know, but I guess you know, for example, I've had like groups that unfortunately didn't work out, or I've had like drama happening with friends, you know, and you know the usual shtick, what everyone kind of has, and weirdly, it never affected my like initial love for music. It's like because music has never done something bad to me. If anything, in really difficult moments, I can put on music and I can channel myself through that. So it's for me, it's kind of like a higher power I owe my respects to, and yeah.
Wow, holy shit.
Getting spiritual here.
No, that's great. I think I'm out of questions.
You're out of questions.
I think I've asked everything I wanted to. So I'm gonna ask the final one. Like,
wait. What about you? Because like, okay. I know, for example, that because you're a percussionist, right? Mm-hmm. I always feel like you guys are pretty lucky to live. Because I feel the same way with viola. Because for the longest time, let's be honest, violas were just like filled violinists, and they were just, you know, that's how it was. And there's even letters of Berlioz who write like, why are all the violas so bad? It's just, I wish that someday there will be good violists and blah blah blah. It's so funny, and it's like, and so very little romantic stuff was written for us, and so I just feel, you know, you feel very lucky to live in the 20th century, and you must feel the same way because, you know, like because in the 20th century the chromatic timpani drops, you know, and so that, how do you, what's my question, how have you looked at this? Do you sometimes feel disconnected with instruments that have like a very long tradition and can be conservative versus you that have like this thing on the spot?
That's an amazing question. Yes. Actually, I love that question. Definitely, like 1,000%. I feel like it's not a negative disconnect. You know, it's pretty objective that there's a disconnect there, but it doesn't like get me down. I think it makes me kind of like, whoa, like I play this thing that's super interesting, and the culture of playing classical percussion is like super not traditionalist. It doesn't go as far back as like Baroque times, like that. Like, you know, like you can go as far as like Beethoven had timpani, you know what I mean? But then you're right, like to the romantic stuff where like late romantic, they started writing more percussion and orchestral pieces, and then eventually from there, like more solo percussion rep kind of started existing. And I think also like a little like side tangent off of this, like I think this is a perfect time to ask me this kind of question, because I'm starting to get a little bit more connected to playing percussion, because I wasn't remotely connected to it last year. Or
How so?
Because I don't have a crazy background in it. I just played drum kit in pop and rock groups in high school for fun.
Sick.
And I played some like, you know, concert band percussion, like marches and stuff. But like in the more like classical and orchestral side of it, I'm really realizing what like, you know, like the greater purpose and greater place percussion has in the classical music landscape. But yeah, there definitely is a disconnect, and like, you know, be it the types of stuff we do in school, you know, like you guys have intensive and constant chamber rehearsals. Well, we have like one chamber rehearsal a week as a whole studio essentially. Right. But also like I feel like conversations too is a bit like a definite disconnect. Like people will bring up some symphonies and concertos or whatever. A lot of my friends are string players, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, you know. And that's, you know, that's never gotten me down though. It's just objectively I'm not in the same world, and maybe like if I decide to go down that rabbit hole just for fun, I will be in that same world. But that's kind of that disconnect I feel with
Yeah.
percussion, other traditionalist instruments. There's no, I have no hierarchy. I think there are definitely people out there who do have like, oh yeah, like the violin's old or the piano's older and like it's harder to play, so it's like a better instrument than like playing the snare drum.
Yeah, fuck them
But
guys.
yeah, no, like I don't have that kind of hierarchy in my head, but I think it's very healthy and good as a musician to like acknowledge the objective like differences, but also like find like the nuances of both kind of worlds. You know, there's some really crazy, stupid percussion shit out there that could be as hard as like a really hard like piano concerto. You know what I mean? But that's my answer to that. Yeah.
Yeah, because percussion is a that's what I discovered. So percussion is a colorful instrument.
Yeah.
It's not just like hitting, you know. It's they're like Bartok. Didn't he write a sonata for
percussion and I think two pianos or two violins.
There you go, and that's a sonata.
Like yeah.
Sick. And Bartok, it's not.
Yeah, Bartok. Like when I found out about those Bartok pieces, I'm like, it's super cool that like percussion is kind of treated like those instruments in that sense, you know. Music, like there's a piece, you know, music for strings, percussions, and celeste, you know. And I'm like, you know, they're all existing in one world in this piece, and it's like really beautiful that it is, you know.
Yeah, because after all, why not? Why wouldn't percussion be beautiful? Like why wouldn't like percussion is go through breakups, you know? Like that's not a violin thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anyways, that was a tangent. What was your last question again?
Wait, before I say that, I'll say thank you for asking that. That's
no
very
worries.
awesome. But yeah, I'll ask you, just capping at this year, what would you say are some personal musical goals you just have for yourself for this year?
My personal musical goals. What are my personal musical goals? I think it's I wanna. There's a Hindemith viola concerto that is very beautiful, very very beautiful, and I would like when I get to that, the plan is to play it in 4th year, and I would kind of like that to be my war horse, if you will.
Would you want to enter competitions?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Of course. I mean, it's like that's all the fun, and just get in and be scared and that. You know, and go through new experience. That's the best. Yeah, and I mean, hopefully I can come to a place where I can kind of just how can I say? I guess just spread the message that like all those giants like Hindemith and Berlioz and Bartok wanted to send. You know, because they were very emotional and profound people, and we're also lucky to have music like that just at the ends of our fingers because there is manuscript and ways of noting it, and if it wasn't for that, it would be lost forever. You know, isn't that crazy? And there's just that people that are just like changed our lives, and so like I guess I hope that my trajectory will bring me to a place where honesty is at the midst of my musical playing, and that it essentially brings joy to people. Yes.
Very awesome, man. Damn, this has been such a delightful, great episode, man. Thank you so much for talking with me today. Yeah, and we can wrap it up here. Everyone, this has been Thijs Vorstman on the EJB talk show.
Oh yeah, baby. Very special episode. This has been a great episode. I'm very happy that this is the one that's episode 20. I'm very happy with this one. How do you feel? I'm feeling good. So, yes. Thanks for watching. Yeah. And French people, merci d'avoir vu. And Dutch people, lange pile wire. And on that note, let's get to 1 million views. Yes. Yeah, that'll be it from us. Thanks, guys. Peace. That was great.